VCY America presents Crosstalk, a nationwide call-in program discussing issues that have an effect on our families, our communities, our churches, our nation, and our world. Crosstalk, an opportunity for you to voice your concerns for biblical principles. And now live by satellite and around the world on the internet at vcyamerica.org. Here is today's Crosstalk.
And welcome to Crosstalk here on VCY America. Jim Schneider with you today, and we're glad that you've joined us. I'm sure you're going to find this hour to go by not only quickly, but packed full of information that you need to know about the topic of Islam. It is our privilege to have with us by phone today Usama Dakdok, born in Egypt, raised in a Christian home, son of a Baptist pastor, but became a Christian at the age of 11, learning about Islam in school because it was a mandatory subject there in Egypt, and learned about it. He further studied Islamic law in college. He came to the States in 1992 and founded the ministry in 2001 called the Straight Way of Grace Ministry, traveling throughout the United States, equipping Christians to be effective witnesses of Jesus Christ to their Muslim neighbors, as well as ministering to Muslims directly. And we're looking forward to having him speak at our own VCY rally this coming Saturday night. Usama, thank you so much for joining us today.
It is my joy, brother, to be with you. May God bless you and all your audience.
Some have said that Islam is the fastest growing religion today. Is that true?
I believe this is a false statement because the number of the true believer of religion are not the one who are birthed into it physically without having any understanding or belief in their heart or mind, or those who will deceive into something is not Islam. I believe we can change this statement and say baloney Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world, because so far I have not met anybody in the West, here in Europe, here in America or in Europe or in Australia or in Canada, none of the foreigners, the Western who become a Muslim, have read and understood the Quran to become a Muslim. You cannot be a Christian without knowing the truth about Christian faith, and you cannot be a Muslim without knowing the truth about Islamic faith. So obviously they are deceived into something. It's not Islam. It's called the Christian Islam. It's a baloney Islam, made up Islam for the West. And that's why I say it's not. And also the number, even the babies who are born into Islam, which they are a really huge number, they're not Muslim, because I don't believe a man is a Muslim because his dad is a Muslim. A man is a Muslim because he believed in Islam. And we know that 87% of the Muslim people around the world could not read the Quran. They have no access to the Quran in their language. Therefore, they're not Muslim. You cannot be a Muslim without Islam.
Now, we are seeing, though, mosques that are just seeming to increase all across these United States. Is that something that we're just becoming more used to hearing about now, or are mosques something that we've continuously seen crop up?
The mosque has been built in America for 40-some years. It's a long time. I don't know exactly when they start building mosques. But now, because American people start hearing some truth about Islam, it causes them to be concerned and worry about the building of a mosque. But mosque has been always built in America, in large size too. But when Muslims have the boldness to go ahead and build a mosque in ground zero, or another one in where Flight 93 hit in Pennsylvania, this is victory mosque for them. And American people, because they just start getting knowledge about Islam, that's why they have more concern about such mosques to be built in America. But they have been always building mosques in America.
Okay, tell us about that mosque at Ground Zero. I know, and we understand that one of the Saudi princes is talking about changing its location. Why is this such an assault upon America to put this mosque at Ground Zero?
I think American people need to know the history of Islam since the existing of Islam 641 AD after Christ until today, when Muhammad went and invaded a city or a place and killed the Christian, killed the Jew, killed the people of the land. He built a mosque. He put this as a place for them to celebrate, to have a victory over. This is something in the tradition, in the history of Islam. If you go to Spain, if you go to Turkey, if you go to Egypt, you go to any of these places where there were Christian and they were killed, and they built a mosque, or they took one of their buildings and make it a mosque. So it is a victory mosque, and it's amazing. How can Muslims want to build this as a memorial to those who died September 11 by the understanding Islam? It is not memorial. It is celebration. It is a victory mosque. And why the American people have not even thought to build any memorial in where Flight 93 in Pennsylvania crashed? Why Americans have not thought of it, but Muslims want to build a memorial there, a mosque and a shape of a moon. So obviously it is a victory mosque, but American people have not got it yet to understand Islam, to know the truth about Islam, to stop Islamization of America. It's a very important and long travel we're going to take together, where I'm praying that God will open the door for American people to hear the truth so they may be set free. The people we are ignorant, and the Bible said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. We don't have any knowledge hardly about Islam, and all what we hear about Islam is from the media, from the what I call deceiver Muslim. They call themselves moderate Muslim. I don't believe in such a thing as a moderate Muslim. They're deceiver who are deceiving the American people, and the voice and the truth have to be heard and must be told to the Americans to stop Islamization of America.
Yeah, we're hearing that term constantly in the media. We hear that term moderate Muslim, and then we hear the different, the radical or the extremist Muslims. Is it only the radical extremist Muslims that believe in jihad? Is it is a moderate Muslim just a disobedient Muslim? But help us understand these terms.
My dear brother, the moderate Muslim does not exist. This statement does not exist simply because there is no such a thing as moderate Islam. Islam is a barbaric religion. Islam is a religion of hate. There is no love in the Quran. There is no peace in the Quran. The Quran only calls for peace when Muslims do not have the upper hand. So what you call moderate Muslim, what some Muslims call themselves in America moderate Muslim, they are the people who practice the verses of the Quran, which teach it's okay to lie, which teach it's okay to deceive the American people until you have the upper hand. Go, for example, chapter 47, verse 35. Allah in the Quran, Allah is the inventor of Islam, not anybody else, but this is the God of Islam, which is, I believe, Satan. We can talk about it in more detail. He said to the Muslim people, what? O you who believe, do not be weak, calling for peace when you have the upper hand. Let me say it again. Do not be weak, calling for peace when you have the upper hand. American Muslims are weak. They have to call for peace simply because they do not have the upper hand. And the days they will have the upper hand, America will not be any different than Europe, than Egypt 1400 years ago, where Muslims will walk on the American people with their shoes and with their foot. They will ride you to take over your country.
Well, that's rather alarming. When we look at, and let's enter into the topic of Sharia as well, we saw Oklahoma just Tuesday this week had a question on the referendum ballot outlawing international law or Sharia in court decisions. Tell us why Sharia is such a threat to us here in the United States.
Sharia is very dangerous because that's the teaching of the Quran. Sharia is very dangerous because that's to kiss freedom goodbye. Sharia is unconstitutional. As a matter of fact, me taking a deeper step, I say that Islam is unconstitutional religion to be practiced in America, especially with our constitution. It's amazing. Since we start talking about the mosque in Ground Zero and how the liberal come up to the media now and they tell us, oh, freedom of religion, freedom of religion. Muslims have the right to build a mosque. It is their land, it is their money. And I say, you ignorant, you fool, you dumb Democrat, read the Quran before you speak for Islam, before you defend Islam. You're literally digging your own grave to bury yourself and to bury your freedom forever. Why? Because I say this and people sometimes think that I'm extreme. I'm going nuts. No, I'm not. I know exactly what the Quran teaches. I translated the book. I studied the book all my life. Over 30 years I'm reading this book. And American people have not had a chance even to look at. When we talk about freedom of religion, that means, my dear brother, that means a Christian can worship however he wish. A Jew can worship however he wish. A agnostic, a Buddha, somebody worship a tree, someone worship a cow. You can do whatever you want. That's freedom of religion. Nobody can go tell anybody else, you worship my way, I'm going to kill you. Islam is the only religion, is the only cult exists in earth to say, if you're not a Muslim, we'll chop off your head. If you're a Christian, for sure we'll chop off your head. If you're a Jew, absolutely we must kill you, because that's what the Quran teaches. And according to their religion, according to teachings, they have no right not to build a mosque, not to worship in a mosque, not to exist or to live in America. They are a criminal who live in our land, and sadly, because we don't know their religion, we don't know their book, we don't know their belief, we don't know their agenda, we allow them to build and to exist in America. So I can say it one more time in a simple word to all the others to understand what I'm trying to say here. If, say, I'm going to start a brand new religion, call it is the religion of Mikuka, the religion of Mikuka, okay? And I'm going to go to your city hall in your state, and I'm going to say, I would like to permit to build a temple of Mikuka. And they will ask me, okay, what do you people of Mikuka believe? And I'll say to them, we people of Mikuka believe only Mikuka shall live. All Christian must die, all Jew must die, all Muslim must die, all Buddhist, atheist, agnostic, everybody, gay and lesbian. We're going to kill everybody in your city, district here, and every people have to come to our temple, the temple of Mukuka, to worship with us. Otherwise, we're going to kill them all. What is the chance for Mukuka followers to have their own temple in your city? How about zero?
Yeah.
Why? Because that's stand against the freedom of religion in America. And guess what? That Mukuka is nothing but Islam. It is the teaching of the Quran.
We're speaking today with Usama Dakdok. He is a Muslim evangelism specialist, head of the Straight Way of Grace Ministry. And one of the frustrating aspects, Usama, is that we hear often from, political party leaders, it doesn't matter if a Republican or a Democrat, we say, well, they tell us Islam is a religion of peace and that the God of Islam is the God of the Bible. How do you respond to that when they said, well, we all worship the same God?
Yeah, Islam is a religion of peace when they do not have the upper hand. That's a true statement. But when they do have the upper hand, you kiss this peace goodbye, because weak equal peace in Islam. I just quote you chapter 47 and verse 35. You could not find in all over the Quran a verse teach love or a verse teach peace. Those ignorant, and I call them ignorant with respect, those foolish who tell me Islam is a religion of peace, I'll ask him, show me a verse in the Quran, unabrogated verse, which teach Muslims to live in peace with somebody. The answer is zero peace, zero verse. And now I can quote you from the Quran 350 verse, teach nothing but to hate and to kill. So obviously Islam is not a religion of peace or religion of love. It doesn't exist. I will debate any Muslim at any place, at any time, anywhere in the world to prove to the world that there's no such a thing as a moderate Muslim, there's no such a thing as a loving, peaceful, according to the teaching of the Quran and according to Muhammad in the Hadith. Not because of some book written by some Christian or some Jew or some atheist. No, their books teach that. As for Allah, the Allah of Muhammad is Satan. How do I know Allah is Satan? If you open the Quran with me, chapter 1, verse 1, we're not going to go far away from chapter 1. Chapter 1, verse 1, Allah said in the Quran, what? Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the world. Who is the Lord of the world? Where are the Christians? Does the Christian forget the Bible in 2 Corinthians 4:4? The God of this world, the Lord of this world is Satan. Therefore, Muslim praise Allah, Satan, 20-some time a day. Now, add to this. Allah in the Quran describes himself the best deceiver. For Allah said in the Quran, they deceive, but Allah deceive, and Allah is the best deceiver. Who is the best deceiver? Who is the deceiver according to the teaching of the Bible? It is Satan. Therefore, Allah is Satan. Let me give you another one. Allah in the Quran says, throughout the Quran, his desire is to fill hell with people and demons. Who is the person in the Bible have the desire to fill hell with demons and people? Satan. Therefore, Allah is Satan. How about Allah in the Quran? He lead people astray. Allah, throughout the Quran, He lead people astray. He causes people to sin so He can punish them and send them to hell. Who lead people astray? None but Satan. I can go on and on and on. All the names of Allah as he describes himself, the attributes of Allah in the Quran, the character of Allah in the Quran is nothing but Satan. The problem is we have not read the Quran. That's why I ask people and I beg people, get yourself a copy of the Quran. And we had it already translated. We did everything for the English speaker to read the truth about the Quran and learn Islam from its source, from its book, the Quran. And that's how we can get free, hold on to our freedom, and stop Islamization of America and stop the lies and deception of those who call themselves moderate, but they're not moderate at all.
We're going to pick up with this after our break. You're listening to Crosstalk on VCY America. Folks, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Back to Genesis with Dr. John Morris, scientist and creation researcher with the Institute for Creation Research. Dr. Morris, have you ever seen drawings of dinosaur-like creatures on rock walls left by the Indians?
Yes, Chris, I have seen them, and they are amazing. People from every continent have drawn pictures and fashioned art objects after the likeness of dinosaurs. These predate our modern discovery of dinosaur fossils, proof that man and dinosaur lived together. Evolutionists, of course, dismiss these as fanciful dream tales. They believe that the amazing dinosaurs with all their internal complexity and the DNA code could evolve by chance random processes. Maybe it's easier to think that wind and water erosion produced these dinosaur pictographs on the rocks. I'm being fanciful, of course, but at least the back to Genesis viewpoint is consistent within itself.
If you'd like to go back to Genesis, you can find us on the web at www.icr.org. For the Institute for Creation Research, I'm Chris O'Brien. Thanks for tuning in.